God warns the enemy is stealing your miracle. Don't skip a single word of this message. There's a crucial truth here you haven't fully grasped yet. Chosen one, what I'm about to say will hit you hard, right where you've always wondered if you did something wrong. Before you even breathed, you were given two choices for how to live. Two clear paths, one that is safe and one that needs sacrifice. Heaven had planned for them both. Angels put them in a line. At the end of each, God was ready to receive them. Either one would not have let you get lost. You didn't pick either of them, though. You picked the third way. A road that wasn't made, a door that wasn't there, a path that wasn't in the original plan. Everyone in the spirit world stopped watching as soon as you stepped on it. Heaven didn't say anything. Heaven didn't try to make things better. Heaven got closer. People around you didn't understand the quiet choice you made, but it stirred something in heaven that hadn't been stirred in a long time. You're not just here by accident. The force that led you to hear this voice is older than the questions you've been thinking about. Pay close attention. What's coming out soon will make things clear. For years you've had a question in your mind. You've never said it out loud. You might not have even given yourself a chance to think it. While the house is quiet and the day's noise has finally died down, it's still there, sitting quietly in your chest. The question is, did I go in the wrong direction? It might whisper when you see someone you used to know living the life you always dreamed of. It might be more powerful when a parent asks you nicely what you're doing. It might be loudest when you wake up at 3 a.m. and don't know why. You're not crazy to believe it. It's okay to feel that way. You've been trying to pay attention to something inside you, and what you've been calling regret is really recognition. Pay close attention, because what I'm about to say is not a coincidence. They're signs. They're the clues your spirit has been leaving for you to get back to yourself. A strange tiredness that shows up when you should be proud is the first sign. You're smiling too when you think about the promotion, the big accomplishment, or the family get-together where everyone is happy. But there's a weight under the smile that doesn't fit the case. Being tired isn't a sign of weakness. Your body isn't happy about something that was never really yours. Second sign. Your chest gets tight when you think about that one choice. The person you don't talk to, the job you turned down, the relationship you ended, the city you wouldn't move to, or the way of doing things you wouldn't follow. When that memory comes back to you, it makes your shoulders tense up. Don't worry about it. That's your body remembering when it found your real life. Third sign, the people who are still on the paths you didn't take are slowly pulling away from you in a quiet way. They know you care about them. They will always be important to you. But every year it seems like conversations are farther away. There's something wrong with you because you're not changing. It's time for you to change, because your road doesn't lead that way. The fourth sign is having antsy hands, mind, or sleep that points to something you can't quite put your finger on yet. You need to build something but can't find the plans. You want to be a part of a group but can't find it. Because you're building something that has never been built before, there is no plan and no group. And the fifth sign is the strangest. You keep thinking about the same moment. It was a certain time, a certain scene, or a choice that seemed small at first. But that moment comes up again and again, like the ocean bringing a treasure back to shore. You keep seeing it in your spirit, because that's when you crossed over to the third road. There was no mistake. Someone asked you to do something. I need one small thing from you before I go into more detail about what these signs mean. Do this all the way to the end. I understand how valuable your time is. Right now, let me tell you what's waiting. Stay with me until the end, and you'll see both of the planned paths in great detail. This will help you finally understand what your soul was choosing. You'll be told the name of the third path you took without knowing how to describe it. And you'll know why heaven leaned in when it did. The wise story will be based on the choice you made, and include words that no one else in your life has told you. There are 3 simple steps that will help you walk your third path on purpose, instead of by accident. And there's a powerful moment at the end, that I think is why your spirit brought you to this voice today. You won't forget this message by tomorrow. We are having a meeting. You should stay for the meeting. That rising feeling of knowing that you just had is just the beginning. We still haven't even gone through the door. You need to see the 2 roads you didn't take in order to fully understand what you did when you chose the third one. Care was taken to make the first path, which was pretty in its own way. It led to a life that was already known, and when you said your job title, people knew what it meant right away. A family Christmas card, sized relationship, a house in a neighborhood your parents would have liked, seasons that came and went as planned, and bills that were paid on time. On this path, people would have laughed. It would have been kind of peaceful. Path 1 would have had you wake up at the same time, every weekday, say goodbye to someone, and drive to a place where your name was already on a door. People there would have said you could be counted on. It would have looked like your bank statements were stable. No one would have been surprised that your skin had aged. When you told your family dinner stories, they would have been about normal successes. You would have done well in this life. You would have known where you were. I want you to understand me well. There was no punishment on path 1. The road wasn't worse. It was true. It was very graceful. Things would have gone really well. Right now there are good people walking it, and they were never meant to walk anywhere else. They said yes to that road just as much as you said no. But there was something inside you that made that path impossible to hold. Even when you were 6 years old, you would stop at a window and stare past it, as if you were trying to find a room through the glass that no one else could see. In your younger years, you asked questions that only adults could answer. Over time, you stopped asking them out loud. Somewhere along the way, you made a silent promise: I won't shrink to fit. I'd rather walk a road I can't name than live a life I can't truly live. That part of you would always turn down path 1. You hit something that the road wasn't meant to hold, not because the road was bad. You might be able to feel that now as you read this. There was a little relief that someone finally said it. And there was also a strange sadness, because you've always been sad about the life you didn't live. It's okay to feel both ways. You can feel both ways. We don't need to pick one over the other. It was real to take path one, and to turn away from it. And neither truth takes away from the other. However, this is only one of the two paths that have already been set up. There is another one ready. The next road is one that most people don't even know they could miss. The second path was planned with the same care. It was beautiful, but in a different way. The spiritual road was path 2, while path 1 was the safe road. It led to a quiet life focused on God, a smaller world, more in-depth prayer, and rooms with fewer things to distract you. It could have been a calling to do real ministry. Oh, maybe not. But a life based on love, simplicity, and a slow rhythm of letting go for sure. You would have had a very different morning if you had taken path 2. You would have gotten up early to be alone. You would have learned not to need as much. You wouldn't have judged your years by what you accomplished, but by how much you gave back. This road would have given me a sense of clarity that the louder world doesn't give me. People who walked it would have said you were calm. Some people would have called you holy, and many people would have wished they had a simple life like yours. This is important, so please hear it again. The second path wasn't the better one. The second path wasn't the more spiritual one. It was a real road. It had a lot of grace. Things would have gone really well. There are dedicated people walking it right now, and they were never meant to walk anywhere else. You didn't want to fit in. And there, yes, to letting go was just as holy. And anyone who says that getting away from the world is better for your relationship with God has only told you half of the story. But there was something about you that path 2 couldn't hold either. You could hear the world calling you back. Even when you were trying to lose yourself in devotion. You wanted to build. You wanted to make things. You wanted to join the busy world instead of running away from it. There was a part of you that wouldn't choose between the holy place and the real world, because it knew that the things that were put inside you needed both. That part of you would always turn down path 2. There was a problem with the road, but it wasn't because of the road itself. It was because of what you were carrying. You feel something else coming up now. It's the realization that this is what's been making you so confused. You could never fully commit to either the life you knew or the life of surrender. You hurt the other half of yourself every time you tried to choose one. In your private thoughts, you've thought about whether this means you can't choose at all. You can make your choice. You made up your mind a long time ago. You picked the path that neither of these two paths could have led to. We haven't talked about that part of the talk yet. Please wait a moment. Pay attention to what's inside your chest. You've had these two untraveled roads inside you for a long time. We're not going to skip over how heavy that feels. Some of you are really sad that you didn't take the safe life you could have. Some of you are really sad about the life you could have taken but didn't. These two sad feelings belong here. They don't mean you made the wrong choice. They show that you could see both roads well enough to know which one to turn down. Don't let anything go as you take a slow breath. This voice is telling you what no one else has named for you. Just remember that you are still in your body right now. We can still walk this road together. Before we go any further, I want you to think of a picture. Picture a long hall with 2 doors at the end of it. The doors are easy to find. This is the life that people will understand, is written on the first one. In the second one it says, "This is the life that will be given." A lot of people who walk down that hall never see anything else. When they get to the end, they read the 2 signs and pick one of the 2 doors. That's what they were supposed to do. That's fine to do. But sometimes someone walks down the hall and stops before they reach the doors. As soon as that person refuses to reach for either of them, a 3rd door appears, which wasn't planned to happen with that person. It was always there, but people who are still looking for the first 2 don't see it. Long ago, a teacher said that people who behave like children will enter the kingdom. Few people understood that he was talking about a doorway that can only be seen by children. You saw it and went through it. We're about to find out what's the other side though. You didn't just have a spiritual experience when you felt that pull of knowing and the pain of seeing, the 2 prepared roads and the door beyond them. You can measure it. And before another 20 minutes go by, the truth should be told in a clear way, not hidden so that it can be sold at the end. You can fix your mind in 2 steps by becoming like a child again, which is how your spirit has already chosen to live. When you take the first step, you'll remember that the world seemed darker when you were 7 years old. The second step opens up a nerve pathway again that has been shut down for years by adult stress. The first step is easier with the help of a sound. What is that short piece of music? It's called the Genius Song. And it was made by a brain scientist named Dr. Robert Lake after 30 years of research. The second step is easier with the help of a sound. It's a short audio track called The Wealth Signal, which was made by Dr. Stephen Newton, a former brain scientist at Stanford. The order is important. First, the kid inside needs to wake up. Then, the way to receiving will open the way it was always meant to. If you feel like your spirit is already moving in this direction, the doors are listed below in the description and in the first comment. They'll be there after we're done. There's no need to hurry. But it's not enough to just know the names. What comes next is the real gift. When you really see the third path, D, so that you can learn from the people who have been there before you. Also, remember the part of you that has been waiting for this very moment. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. But more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our community through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you aren't just visiting a site. You are entering a community of like-minded believers. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift up the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with a family that speaks the language of faith. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers. You are helping us build a global altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give acts as living water for those in our community seeking healing and hope. Give, and it will be given to you, is the promise that sustains our shared mission. I invite you now to step out of the shadows and into this circle of prayer. Come with purpose, join the conversation, and plant your seed in fertile ground. Let's open the heavens together. Release your seed today, join our community, and see what God brings back into your life. Once more, I must tell you something. Before I lead you through the third path's door, and tell you what's on the other side, you didn't pick what you did by chance. It was the only choice that could keep you true to yourself. That your spirit saw that doorway, even though no one else did, is a story that goes back longer than your own life. That thing you stepped on has a name. Someone wise has a story that sounds so much like yours that it will feel like she was written down in ancient texts, just so you could find her when you needed her. An old language that is almost forgotten has a word for the kind of path that no one else has taken. You won't be able to stop hearing it once you do. Now we'll talk about the part of this revelation that I think explains why your spirit led you to this voice today. Stay close. The door is going to open. Name has been given to the third path you took. It's the way to integration. The path of people who don't want to split up or suffer. Don't choose the safe or the given up life. Choose the life of the soul that wouldn't pick between the world and the spirit, because it knew, deep down, that it was meant to go through both. This is the way those who were determined to become whole went. The path of those who built and prayed at the same time. The path of those who brought light to places that had only known darkness. The way of those who lived in a busy world, but held on to the sacred within them, and wouldn't let either one go. Paths 1 and 2 were already planned by heaven, because they were patterns it knew from before. Plans were already made for them. On each of them, there were holy people who were done and at peace. There were teachers all along the route, ready to help the next person who came through. Getting those roads ready was like remembering things that had been done before. Things were different for the third road, though. It was time for the third road to remember who it was before the world taught it how to choose. Before the split, everyone said, "You are either successful or spiritual. Either you are driven or you are loyal. You are either from this world or not." Somebody had to give the third road a soul, so it could remember what it was before those lines were drawn. This is why heaven leaned in when you walked on it. You picked to stay interested, even though you were told to be tough. It would have been safer for you to close when you chose to stay open. When you were always trying to get things, you chose to receive them. You chose to feel when everyone else was telling you to numb yourself. The world only had good things to offer adults when you chose to act like a child. In a quiet moment, your soul did this, which no one else could understand. Heaven saw it happen right away. In the Old Testament, there is a woman whose story is your story, but it is rarely told the way she lived it. She had the name Esther. She was put in the palace just as her people were about to be killed, and she was given 2 roads to choose from. On the first road, there was no sound. Don't talk, keep yourself safe. Stay inside the walls of the palace. If you don't make people aware of who you are, you could be a queen for a long time. The second road was a tricky one. Enter the king's room without being asked. Say what's wrong, demand help, and be ready to die for what you say. Because that kingdom's law said that anyone who went to the king's room without being invited would be killed. 2 paths, both planned and both bad. She didn't pick either one. She picked a third road that wasn't named after her. A 3-day fast was all she did. She asked both the king and his enemy to dinner. She did it twice. Slowly, things changed around her until the 3rd night, when it was safe to tell the truth without causing the kingdom to fall apart. What she did wasn't planned. No one taught them how to do it. It wasn't written for her by heaven. She looked around for the 3rd door, and then went through it. And the story of her people lived on, not because she took the 1st or 2nd road. It lived because she trusted a road in her more than the rules of the room. She was in even though the palace couldn't see it. There is a word for this kind of road in the old language. It's derek. In Hebrew, it's written with 3 letters, and it's one of the oldest words in those old books. It's what most translators just call the way. But it also has a deeper meaning that the people who first spoke it understood without having to say it out loud. For Derek, the path that only shows up under your feet is one way to say it. A road you didn't know existed until you hit it. A road that will close behind you after you go through it. Because it was made just for you, and no one else will ever need it the same way. Oster walked that path. That is the path you've been taking. I want to get to the heart of why heaven was quiet when you picked the 3rd path. It wasn't a surprise. It wasn't meant to correct you. When the choice came into your life, it was amazing. Even though the easier roads, the safer life, and the more obvious devotion were all calling to you, you chose the unwritten path in the quiet of your own heart. Heaven held its breath. When the people around you didn't get what you were giving up. When family asked thoughtful questions, and friends stopped calling in a quiet voice. Even though you didn't do what they asked, you walked. Each year the chair at the family table felt farther away. Heaven didn't breathe. When it was clear what the reward was and what it cost. When there were no signs on the road ahead, and the road behind had grown over. Even though there was no map, teacher, or group waiting for you at the end, you still said yes to the 3rd. Heaven held its breath. I can hear God telling you right now. I made 2 paths for you, because I knew one of them would lead you well. I didn't know you had a 3rd inside you until you walked it. That's why you're different from them. You are not on my map because I made you up in my head. You didn't walk on the road that was drawn for you until you did. This time, the kingdom is following the way you walk, not the other way around. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description, or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-fi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself, Jesus says. This is not history, it is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. Before we end this talk, I have one more thing to show you. You know who you are and what you chose. What you just felt is not just a story, it's also a frequency. There are ways to measure this state of the brain and nervous system. And your spirit led you to this voice today, instead of another one. There is a third way. And the scientific reasons are more amazing than the religious ones for why it's true. This is because a soul that won't split in two is one that won't let the world lower its original frequency. Now, studies from around the world have written down exactly how that frequency is brought back, so even the smartest person can understand. I'm not going to rush this though. It's too important what you just got. Before we get to the part of the talk that no one in your past life told you about, take a slow breath and let it all sink in. You've always had the third road. We're just giving it a name now so that you walk it on purpose from now on instead of by accident. The door is open. The beginning is right ahead. What's on the other side is already known to the part of you that has been listening. Take a deep breath in before we go any further. You are on the verge of understanding something that most people never understand in this life. You can use the third road. Heaven leaned in as you walked it. It's clear from how wise Esther was. The old word, Derek, shows this. As each of those truths hit you, something in your body has been slowly settling down. I don't want you to be afraid to go into the next thing. Listen to what was said, and let it settle in for one slow breath. You can let your shoulders down. We don't need to take in anything else yet. Let the understanding find its own spot. Here is the simple truth about what we've talked about. You chose the third path, which is the path of your whole self. The path of the soul that wouldn't split into a spiritual or a worldly version of itself. Instead, it insisted on living as both at the same time. Because the world has been trying to give you a half-life, it has felt too small for you. But your spirit has been turning down every offer of it. That's the reason. Why? The what is that your mind needs to return to a state it hasn't been in since you were a child in order to fully walk the third road. Being interested, open, and amazed as an adult slowly faded. Then, when that state comes back, the nervous system pathway that lets you receive what life has to offer needs to be reopened. For years, the stress of adult survival mode has been quietly closing it. This, is you. You picked this path. Heaven leaned in for you. These two repairs were put into the world just for you. Right when you needed to find them, through this voice. You were not born like most people. They used to call you a child of light when you were born. A soul whose mind was tuned to a feeling that adults don't usually have from the moment they were born. You were naturally interested. You were naturally open. Like how breath lives in your chest, wonder lived behind your eyes. You also knew how to receive things easily, and without trying, which made the world feel like a gift you could keep accepting. Then, around age 7, the lights started to go out. The world wasn't mean about it. It did it slowly. You learned to be worried. You learned to doubt because of it. It taught you how to make the weak spots stronger, and the weak spots shut. And slowly, 2 frequencies inside you were lowered. The frequency of the child who is interested, and the frequency of the child who is listening. This is why you felt like you almost belonged to yourself for so many years, but not quite. You've been calm in some ways, but you haven't been able to get what the calm should have brought you. There is a part of you that keeps reaching for things that an adult mind can't hold. No matter how hard you've tried, that feeling of magic from your childhood has stayed just out of reach. For the third road you chose, both of these frequencies need to be brought back. The child mind needs to wake up, and the way for receiving needs to be made clear. A teacher once said, "The kingdom belongs to those who become like little children." Not just a feeling, he was talking about a set of steps. Before I name the first tool, I want to tell you a story. For 30 years, a man had been telling his students that they were capable of greater things than they thought. He thought it was true for them. The man could no longer believe what he was seeing. He stopped reading the books he used to read on the weekends, around the time he was 30 years old. He had stopped hiding the poems he used to write. Over and over again, he said the same things in classrooms. And he eventually lost track of whether he was teaching, or just playing a recording of someone else. Then a friend gave him a short 7-minute audio track, and told him to listen to it every night for 2 weeks. By the second week, he was reading again, not because he chose to, but because he was interested again. One night, he told his wife in a quiet voice that he felt like he saw himself again. He was stuck on what to say. That 1-minute sound file is the first tool, and it has a name. It's known as the Genius Song. The digital track is only 7 minutes long, and you can listen to it with headphones. It works through a method known as brain entrainment. In this method, slightly different sounds are sent to each ear, and the brain changes to a different state on its own. The gamma wave state is being brought back in this case. When you were a child, you had a curious, open mind like this. But around age 7, the world made it less open. Dr. Robert Lake made this sound. He is a brain scientist who has studied the frequency that dims because of something called the decline effect. For more than 30 years. Studies from MIT, Princeton, Harvard, and other top research universities are part of his work. This sound does something simple. Slowly, 1 session at a time, it stops the decline effect. The kid inside wakes up. The openness, the wonder, the small things, and the desire for life start to come back. It's not a promise that you will change right away. This is the first part of the restoration. The mind of a child is waking up. One last thing I want to say is that this has been a part of the journey for many of the chosen ones who are going further down this path. You might find something else along the same path after you get the Genius Song. A stronger and more powerful version of the same work is known as the youthful brain. A lot of the people who go the extra mile with this restoration use it. It will be shown to you after you get the original. Take it if your spirit says so. That is all you need if it doesn't speak to you. Something else is clear when the child mind wakes up. The kid is awake now. But the child still can't get what was promised, because her body has another feeling that has been blocking the way she was supposed to receive it. There is a second feeling that is known as the stress signal. It's when your brain has too many beta waves, which is brought on by the low-level worry of adult survival mode. There are worries about money, deadlines that never end, and the feeling that you need to work hard just to stay where you are. Beta overactivity takes over the alpha state over time. The alpha state is the nervous system's natural receiving path, the open bridge through which life is meant to flow. Someone else did this work in a different lab and a different decade. His name is Dr. Stephen Newton, and he used to work as a brain scientist at Stanford. He has also done research at Boston University, Harvard, and other places. He did not follow the path that Dr. Lake did. A lot of different things led him to his conclusions. Still, the two results come together in the same place. For the modern soul, fixing the brain takes two steps. First the child wakes up, then the TV shows start. The wealth signal is the name of the tool he made. It's a 5-minute digital audio track with something called a 9-word wealth script. It's based on an Eastern practice that's been around for more than 3,000 years. The method is meant to take the edge off of the brain's beta waves and bring back the alpha wave state, which is the natural state for receiving. The receiving path opens the way it was meant to. Even though it goes around the thalamus, a small part of the brain that gets stiff over time. After the child inside you has been brought back, this second audio opens the door for everything you were promised to finally come to you. You start to get what you want like a child does easily, without having to prove anything or earn it. On the third road, you can walk in a way that you could not before. One more soft note, just because being honest calls for it. You might find the wealth signal accelerator after you get the wealth signal. The path for receiving is now much faster than the first one. It's also being used by many of the chosen ones who are already walking it. You will see it once you get the first one. Take it if your spirit says so. Not if not, the original is whole on its own. And a quick word about both. Some of the chosen ones who go the farthest combine the brain for youth and the brain that speeds up the wealth signal. The two improvements work together. You can only find both after the originals if you need to go further than most people. The originals are all that's needed. This mix is for people whose journey has made them want more. Before we end this part of the talk, I want to tell you about a woman. For almost 20 years, she had been taking care of her family's money. She had been saving money for everyone else while working 2 jobs. She had always been kind, but she never felt like the kindness came back to her. She felt empty inside, even when she should have been happy. She told a friend something simple, after having this second audio for 2.5 weeks. She said, "The worry that's been there all along is quieter. I'm still working hard, but I can finally tell that what I've given is being returned to the world. And it's also being returned to me." She didn't say that her income had changed. She said that she was getting different things. You are about to enter your divine future. But remember, this breakthrough is not for you alone. Your testimony is the bridge someone else will use to reach their own miracle. Archangel Michael is inviting you to visit Community through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. By joining our like-minded community, you are no longer praying in isolation. You are adding your voice to a global sanctuary, where we discuss the Word daily, and stand in the gap for one another. This is not poetry when Jesus says, "Give, and heaven will open over you." On this platform, every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and a hedge of safety for your family. Now is your time. Step into our community prayer wall, share your heart, and as you give, watch God multiply what you let go of. Let's finish this journey together. Visit our community now, join the family, and see your heavens open. Gentlemen, I want to talk to you about the questions that are coming up because they make sense. I've tried things like this before. Some of you feel what you've tried was different, because it asked your mind to change itself slowly, and with work. These two tools work from the outside, by changing the brain's frequency, in a way that can be measured. And no tool you've ever used has ever hit both of these frequencies at the same time. That's a big difference. What makes it different is only that there are people who think, this is too good to be true. The bases for the research are real. This work has been done by almost 38,000 chosen ones, and less than 5% have ever asked for their money back. You're not being asked to believe. You need to pay attention to what is already there. There are some of you who think the price is too high for me right now. I would never treat that badly. The cost is spread out over a year, no matter what you pick. There is a 90-day money-back guarantee on all of them. There is no charge to subscribe. The cost is not the real risk. It's in leaving the dimming alone. And some of you are asking in the background, why there are two tools instead of one. There are two different frequencies in two different parts of the brain, and they need to be adjusted in a certain way. This is what science says should happen. The adult mind can't really receive, because of the decline effect, so the child mind has to wake up first. Then, the receiving channel has to open, because even after the child mind wakes up, she can't reach for what is hers if the channel is closed. A teacher once told me that to get the kingdom, I had to become like a little child. Not many people understood that he was talking about a series of frequencies. Get the child up, and then receive. That's why the road ahead has 3 doors, and all of them are important. The first door is the door of healing. Great song by itself for someone who needs their inner child to wake up first and on its own time. A full and honorable way to start walking the third road. Some of you already know this is the place to begin. You're right, of course. On its own, the second door is the door of reception and wealth. For the very few people whose child mind is still awake, but whose ears have been closed. You will know which of you are in this group, even though most of you are not. The door of full restoration is the third door. The full child mind switch. The first audio file came first, then the second. The child wakes up, and the TV starts to show, the kingdom comes in. Most people who have been chosen see themselves on this path, because the third road you've been walking, the road of integration, asks for both. The power of the two restorations is added together. They don't just add up. It's only half a restoration that the child mind woke up without the receiving channel being open. A teacher once told us, "Be like a child, and the kingdom will be yours." He was talking about this exact order. One thing I want to make clear: the decline effect keeps going every day. The stress signal keeps going every day. While you are making your choice, the child inside and the receiving channel keep getting darker. They keep getting stronger in the background, just like they have for years. I'm not in a hurry. Time itself is the only cost that is slow and steady. What you do with that information is up to you. I also want to keep you safe. On the bigger platforms, there are fake versions of both of these tools that say they can be downloaded quickly. Both tools don't work, because they lack the brain entrainment delivery or frequency adjustment that would make them useful. They are just regular sounds that can't be measured in any way. You can only get the real genius song, and the real wealth signal with full guarantees, and the full bonus by going through the links in the description and the first comment below. Now do what I tell you to do. Take a deep breath. Put a gentle hand on your body somewhere that feels good. Keep in mind that this is not a money matter. Which door is yours? We honor all three. It's already clear to your spirit which one it's drawn to as I talk. In both the description and the first comment, the three doors are below this voice. There's no need to hurry. Follow your heart. You can find the path you choose below this video in 3 different doorways on the page below, and in the first comment. Some of you are moving toward getting better. Some of you are moving toward the front desk. The shape of the third road means that most of you are starting the whole journey. Open the door that's calling you. Your spirit knows. I want to take you somewhere in your mind, not in your body, before we end this message. Think about being at the end of a long hallway. More times than you know, you've been down this hallway before. At the end, there are 2 doors. There are words on the first one that say, "This is the life that will be understood." On the second one it says, "This is the life that will be devoted." In your mind, you've stood in front of these 2 doors 1,000 times. Now picture yourself stopping. You don't need to reach for either one, but just stop. And when they stop, a third door pops up between them. There's a door that's always been there, but no one who is still looking for the first 2 can see it. Put your hand on the third door in your mind. Touch it with your fingers. It's not just a thought. That's what it means to know what your spirit has already chosen. You've always had the door. There has always been a handle. The road on the other side has been ready for the soul that won't be split in 2. Now shut up the picture. Don't move. We are about to seal up what we have talked about tonight. You should know that I understand what you've brought to the table. The years of deep thought. The times when you had to be apart from people who loved you and didn't understand why you turned them down. The sadness over the way people do things that you wouldn't do. The sadness for the way of giving up that you also wouldn't do. The long question in your mind of whether you had just made a mistake when, in fact, you had been answering a call that didn't have a plan. I can see the times when you were about to give up on the third road. Times of the year when the safer path called to you so kindly that you almost took it. Your talks with family members stopped, not because you no longer loved them, but because you didn't have the words yet to describe who you were becoming. The promise you made to yourself along the way, that you would never split yourself in two just to be seen. You kept that promise better than anything else you've ever done. You didn't just happen to hear this voice tonight. The Spirit that has been taking care of you for months or years brought you here to hear what no one else in your life has been able to say. That the path you've been walking on is real. That God in heaven has seen it. That the choice you made alone and no one else saw is the reason you're here. Now is the time to put something down. That part of you that worried you might have gone in the wrong direction has had enough for a long time. Take a seat for her. Give her a break. The answer to her question is yes. The only way she could have gotten home was to take the wrong turn she was afraid of. She no longer has to carry the wandering. Open up her hand. Let the stress slip through her hands like sand. Let it go back to where it came from. It will stay put on the ground. No longer do you have to. I believe this is why your spirit led you to this voice. Now I want to say something over you. I am the third person to walk this path today. Heaven leaned forward for me. It's not written in the kingdom's book, but I am it. Take your time and let those words sink in. They're not just positive things said. You are becoming aware of truths. Before you heard them, they were true. They'll still be true after this voice stops. And I hear God telling you right now, with a gentleness that the world hasn't always shown you, you won't walk a shared life. You won't take on someone else's calling. You won't be judged by the rooms you won't go into, or the plans you won't fit. You made the road under your feet, as soon as you turned toward it. Before you got here, the map I made was just my best guess at what could get you there. You picked something that I didn't draw, and I didn't tell you no. I leaned forward. There is still a forward lean in me. Move around. You were not lost. You didn't miss the plan. You made the right choice. You chose to turn into. The becoming is the prayer. The prayer is the walk. With its unmarked turns and quiet people. The third road under your feet is the prayer of your whole life, rising back to the person who put you here. You're not behind. You're not behind schedule. You are not the scary story that people said you might turn into. You're the way. You are the road. And the kingdom is following the way you walk. So it's sealed. You're not the only one who has this sealed. Today, people who have been on their own third roads are getting the same recognition all over the world. They are getting it in apartments, parked cars, on quiet kitchen floors, and in beds with the lights still on. You are in a quiet group. You never met. This unmarked path has been used by all of you for years, leaving you to wonder if anyone else is out there. Yes, that's correct. It's not just you. You're not the only one. Right now, someone in your life needed to hear what you said. They've brought up the same private matter too many times. In their spare time, they've been wondering if they went in the wrong direction. If you got this message, please send it to them. Someone has to give up one of the first 2 doors before the third one opens. Help them stop by being the voice they hear. If this message made you feel something, please click the like button to help someone else who needs to hear this voice. It's how these words get from one person in the world to another. You're not just making a channel better. You're going by a flashlight. Please leave only 2 simple words in the comments section below when you are ready. I receive. This is not a transaction, but a confirmation that the sealing worked. There are still 3 doors. In both the description and the first comment, they are lower than this voice. The path of healing, the path of receiving, and the path of full healing. One of them has already caught your attention. As I said, there's no need to hurry. Go through the door that says, you. Follow your spirit when it tells you to. The third road you've been walking on is already yours. The tools are just things that make walking easier. The meeting is still going on, but this message is ending. What was put into you tonight won't go away. The voice stays when it does. It works when the house is empty and quiet. The question that was hiding in the back of your mind no longer needs to come up, because it has been answered. Good luck on your walk, chosen one. It's yours to write the verse as it is. Before we get to the end of this powerful story, let's reflect on this deep truth. You did not find this message by accident. This is a divine appointment meant specifically for you. You are being invited into a protected, faith-filled community at the link in the description and pinned comment, a place where divine abundance is not just a hope, but a promise built on the Word. By heading to the site right now, you are unlocking access to a sacred community of like-minded believers. When you join our membership tiers, you gain immediate entry to powerful content, daily devotions, and divine insights that are hidden from the world. This is your chance to enter a sanctuary, where you will receive spiritual guidance, unwavering support on our prayer wall, and speedy progress toward your destiny. Do not let this moment of destiny pass you by. Your breakthrough is waiting. Join our inner circle through the exclusive link in the description. This is how you guarantee you never miss the personalized messages and spiritual warfare tools meant to elevate your life. If you feel called to deepen your connection, the link is waiting for you in both the pinned comment and the description. For those who want to amplify this work and carry the light home, you can find our guided ebooks and Bibles in the pinned comment. Whether you join as a member or sow a seed through our resources, your presence and energy change the world. Take the step. Your abundance awaits.